My name is Willie Toobs. I own a company called the JR Toobs Consulting, and it's a small financial, personal, and business financial consulting service. Started that probably about 2008. I'll say I'll take that back, 2020. But I've been in financial services for about, I would say, 20 years. But not only that, man, I grew up in Little Rock, Arkansas, man. Moved here to Texas after leaving the University of Memphis. Studied African American studies and architecture, and when I got in African American studies, man, it just pulled me, bro. It was like something that I realized that was a passion of mine, trying to make sure that we understood our history, but also understanding with everything that I've been through, how we can affect our community and what type of things we can do to make our community better as Black people, man, as Black Americans and African Americans, as you say.
Okay, Willie, with that being said, man, before we get off into your backstory, man, what is African American studies? What is that?
So basically, it's a cultural studies that basically talks about the experience from what is now called Black American studies, but from our experience is from a point of us coming here after slave trade and how we've developed our own culture, the history of our own culture. Because you have to understand, man, that our community, our demographic, we're one of the most unique demographics in the world, simply because what happens, man, is our story is not directly to a certain region, culture, or country. We've had to develop a lot of it. So we actually have a lot of culture. We've developed a lot of culture. So African American studies is basically a sociological study of that particular culture, from our music to our clothing, to everything we do to affect this country as a whole and the world as a whole. I mean, you and I were kind of talking about that, but that's what African American studies is.
They teach that in colleges here.
Absolutely. And then I got it at University of Memphis, but University of Texas at Arlington has a great interdisciplinary study program that talks about, it's under the cultural studies, but it specifically talks about the African American studies. There are quite a few African American, HBCUs that teach that, man, but I think it's something that we really need to understand about our culture, because we actually are the determiners of what's cool, what's acceptable, and what's not acceptable, good and bad, and I think you and I talked about a little bit of that, but we actually make any culture of any place in the world. And that comes from here is us in America after the slave trade and after those type of things. So yeah, they actually teach that in school, man.
Thanks. I like that, man. Growing up, man, I never heard of classes and curriculums that normally teaches African Americans about their culture. So
exactly.
that's pretty dope, and I'm grateful for you saying that, man. It's giving people other avenues to go find themselves, and their lineage, where they're from. So,
Absolutely.